I never thought a 5'3" woman in a velour tracksuit could ruin someone's entire career. But that morning in February proved me wrong. My name is Andrew Morrison, and I run a small snow removal business in Boulder, Colorado. Nothing fancy, just me, my truck, a plow attachment, and enough grit to handle the brutal winters that hit the Front Range every year. I had been up since 3 in the morning clearing driveways and parking lots across town. The storm that rolled through the night before dumped nearly 18 inches of heavy, wet snow, the kind that breaks tree branches and makes driving a legitimate hazard. My phone had been ringing nonstop with calls from desperate homeowners who needed their driveways cleared before they could get to work. Around 7:30 that morning, I pulled into the Pinecrest Heights subdivision to handle my last job of the day. The neighborhood was one of those cookie-cutter developments with identical beige houses, manicured lawns, and an HOA that treated every blade of grass like it was guarding the nuclear codes. I had done work there before without issue, though I always felt like someone was watching me through their blinds, waiting for me to make a mistake they could report. My client, Tom Richards, had called me at 5 that morning practically begging me to come clear his driveway. His wife was 8 months pregnant and had a doctor's appointment she absolutely could not miss. I told him I would get there as soon as I finished my other jobs. When I arrived, Tom was waiting outside in his coat, looking stressed and grateful. His driveway was a solid sheet of compacted snow and ice. "Thank God you are here," Tom said, his breath coming out in white puffs. "I tried shoveling, but this stuff is like concrete. Jenny needs to leave in 45 minutes. "No problem," I said, climbing out of my truck. "I will have this done in 20 minutes tops." I got to work, lowering my plow and making the first pass down his driveway. The truck handled it well, scraping the heavy snow aside and revealing the dark pavement underneath. I was on my third pass when I noticed a silver Lexus SUV pulling up and parking directly behind my truck, blocking me in completely. A woman got out, and I recognized her immediately. Deborah Winters, president of the Pinecrest Heights HOA. She was probably in her late 40s, with heavily highlighted blonde hair cut in that severe bob that screamed middle management. She wore designer athleisure wear despite the freezing temperature, and her face had that pinched expression of someone perpetually hunting for violations. "Excuse me," she called out, marching toward me with her phone already in her hand. "You need to stop what you are doing right now." I turned off my truck and stepped out, confused. "Is there a problem?" "Yes, there is a problem," Deborah said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "You do not have HOA approval to operate a commercial vehicle in this neighborhood." Tom came rushing over, holding up his hands. "Deborah, I hired him. I need my driveway cleared." "That is not how this works, Tom," she said, not even looking at him. Her eyes stayed locked on me like I was some kind of criminal. "All commercial services must be approved by the HOA board 72 hours in advance. It is in the covenant." 72 hours. Tom's voice went up an octave. "Deborah, it snowed last night." "How was I supposed to know 72 hours ago that I would need a plow?" "That is not my problem," Deborah said coolly. "Rules are rules. If we let one person break them, everyone will think they can do whatever they want." I tried to keep my voice calm and reasonable. "Madam, I am just trying to do my job. I will be out of here in 15 minutes. "You will stop now," she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. "And you will leave this neighborhood immediately?" "Your car is blocking me in," I pointed out. "I cannot leave until you move." Deborah crossed her arms. "I will move my car when you agree to stop this unauthorized work." This was insane. I looked at Tom, who seemed caught between embarrassment and anger. His phone rang and he answered it quickly. "Hey, honey." "No, he is here, but we have a situation." He listened for a moment, his face growing more stressed. Okay, just stay calm, I will figure it out." He hung up and turned to Deborah. "My wife needs to get to her OB appointment. She is high risk. Can we please just let him finish?" "I am sorry about your wife's situation, but policy is policy," Deborah said. You should have planned better. Something about the way she said it, so dismissive and cold, made my blood boil, but I had dealt with difficult people before. I pulled out my phone. Look, I am going to finish this job. If you have a problem with that, you can call the police, but you need to move your car. I am not moving anything, Deborah said. She actually pulled out her phone and started taking pictures of my truck, my license plate, and even me. This is going in my report to the board. You will be fined, Tom, $500 for unauthorized commercial activity. $500. Tom looked like he might pass out. Deborah, that is insane. Those are the rules you agreed to when you bought your house, she said primly. I took a deep breath, trying to channel every ounce of patience I had left after being awake for nearly 5 hours. Madam, I do not know what your issue is, but I am going to get back in my truck, finish this driveway, and then leave. You can do whatever you want after that. If you get back in that truck, I will call the police and report you for trespassing, Deborah threatened. The homeowner hired me, I said. That is not trespassing. It is when you are violating HOA regulations, she shot back. This was going nowhere. I turned to Tom. Do you want me to call the cops myself? Get this sorted out officially? Tom looked torn, glancing back at his house where his pregnant wife was probably watching this circus unfold. I just need my driveway cleared. Then let me clear it, I said. Deborah stepped between me and my truck. Actually physically blocked my path. You are not getting back in that vehicle. Madam, you need to move, I said, my patience finally wearing thin. Or what? She challenged. This was absurd. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. If she wanted to play games, fine. We would let the police sort it out. 911, what is your emergency? The dispatcher answered. Hi, I am at 4782 Snowberry Lane in Pinecrest Heights. I am a snow removal contractor hired by the homeowner, and someone is blocking my vehicle and preventing me from leaving. I need an officer to respond. Deborah's eyes widened slightly, but she did not back down. She got on her own phone, presumably calling the police as well to give her version of events. The dispatcher told me an officer would be there shortly. I thanked her and hung up, then leaned against my truck to wait. Tom paced nervously, checking his phone every few seconds. Jenny is really stressed, he said quietly. This is not good for the baby. I know, man. I am sorry, I said. Once the cops get here, this should get cleared up fast. Deborah was still on her phone, speaking in low, urgent tones. I caught snippets of her conversation, something about a board meeting and how she needed to be somewhere by 10. About 12 minutes later, a Boulder police cruiser pulled into the neighborhood. Officer Martinez stepped out, a middle-aged guy with a weathered face who looked like he had seen it all. He approached us with a neutral expression. All right, what is going on here? He asked. Deborah immediately launched into her explanation. Officer, this man is operating a commercial vehicle without HOA approval. I asked him to stop and he refused. He is violating our community covenants. Officer Martinez turned to me. And you are, Andrew Morrison. I run a snow removal business. This homeowner, I gestured to Tom, hired me to clear his driveway. I was in the middle of the job when she showed up and blocked my truck in with her car. The officer looked at Tom. You hired him? Yes, sir, Tom said. My wife has a medical appointment. We need the driveway cleared. Officer Martinez turned back to Deborah. So the homeowner hired him to work on his property? That is not the point, Deborah said. He did not get HOA approval. Madam, HOA rules are a civil matter, Officer Martinez said patiently. They are not criminal law. If the homeowner wants this man on his property doing work, that is between the homeowner and him. But the covenants clearly state, Deborah started. Again, madam, that is civil, not my jurisdiction, the officer interrupted. Now you are blocking his vehicle. I need you to move your car so he can leave once he is done with his work. I am not moving my car, Deborah said stubbornly. Officer Martinez's expression hardened slightly. Madam, blocking someone's vehicle from leaving is unlawful detention. If you do not move your car, I can cite you for that. This is ridiculous, Deborah sputtered. I am the HOA president. I am trying to enforce our community standards. You can enforce them through proper civil channels, Martinez said, but right now you need to move your vehicle. Deborah looked like she wanted to argue more, but something in the officer's expression must have told her she was out of options. She huffed loudly, marched to her Lexus, and got in. But instead of just backing up a bit, she made a whole production of it, moving forward and then backing up at an angle that forced me to reposition my truck later. Officer Martinez watched her, then turned to me. "You good to finish up here?" "Yes, sir, thank you," I said, "no problem." He glanced at Deborah's car, now parked about 30 feet down the street. She was sitting in the driver's seat, presumably watching to make sure I left. "Try to avoid any more drama." "Not planning on it," I assured him. The officer left and I got back to work. Tom helped me by shoveling the areas my plow could not quite reach. We worked quickly, both of us wanting this situation over with. I could feel Deborah's eyes on me the entire time and it made my skin crawl. When the driveway was finally clear, Tom paid me and added an extra $50. "For your trouble, man, I am so sorry about all that." "Not your fault," I said. "Good luck with the baby." "Thanks," he said, already heading back inside to get his wife. I climbed into my truck, exhausted and ready to go home. As I started to pull out of the driveway, Deborah's Lexus suddenly lurched forward and stopped right in front of my truck again, blocking my path. She got out, her face flushed with anger. "You think you are clever, don't you?" she yelled. "Getting the police involved like that." I was too tired for this. "Lady, move your car." "I have a board hearing at 10, she said, and I noticed her voice had a slightly frantic edge now. "A very important hearing for my nursing license, and because of you I am going to be late." That caught my attention. "Your nursing license?" "Yes," she snapped. "Not that it is any of your business. Now I have to file all this paperwork about your violation and I do not have time." "Then maybe you should not have blocked my truck in the first place," I said. "Seriously, move your car, I am done here." "You think you won, but you did not," Deborah said. "I am going to make sure the board fines Tom the maximum amount, and I am going to report your business to the city for harassment." "Harassment?" I could not help but laugh. It was either that or lose my temper completely. "You blocked me in." "Twice." "Because you were breaking the rules," she insisted. I did not have the energy for this argument. "I am calling the police again." That seemed to snap something in her. Her face went pale and she checked her watch. "Fine, whatever, this is not over." She got back in her car and this time actually drove away, speeding out of the neighborhood faster than the posted limit. I waited until she was completely gone before I pulled out and headed home. The rest of my day was uneventful. I got home, took a hot shower, ate some breakfast, and crashed for a few hours. When I woke up in the early afternoon, I had 3 missed calls from a number I did not recognize. There was also a voicemail. I listened to it. It was from Tom. "Hey Andrew, it is Tom Richards. Listen, I just got a letter hand delivered to my door from the HOA. They are fining me $1,000 now, not $500. And they are threatening to put a lien on my house if I do not pay within 30 days. I do not know what to do. Can you call me back? $1,000. This woman was unbelievable. I called Tom back and he answered on the first ring. "Andrew, thanks for calling back," he said. He sounded exhausted. "I got your message." $1,000 is insane, I said. "Do you have a copy of your HOA covenants?" "Yeah, somewhere. Why?" "Because I am willing to bet she is making up half these rules," I said. "Or at least exaggerating them. Can you send me a copy?" "Sure, let me find it," Tom said. I heard papers rustling in the background. "Okay, I am taking pictures now. I will text them to you." "Perfect." "In the meantime, do not pay anything," I advised. "And if she contacts you again, document everything." "Will do." "Thanks, man," Tom said over the next hour. Tom sent me about 40 pages of HOA covenants and bylaws. I made myself some coffee and started reading through them. Most of it was the usual HOA nonsense about lawn heights, exterior paint colors, and holiday decoration restrictions. But when I got to the section about commercial vehicles and services, things got interesting. The covenant did state that commercial services needed HOA approval, but it included a long list of exceptions for emergency services. And buried in the definitions section, emergency services included snow removal necessary for safe vehicle operation and access during winter weather events. There was also a clause stating that during declared weather emergencies, normal approval procedures were suspended. I checked the Boulder City website and confirmed that the mayor had indeed declared a snow emergency the night before due to the storm. Which meant, according to the HOA's own covenants, I did not need prior approval at all. Deborah had been wrong. Completely, totally wrong. I called Tom back and explained what I found. He was quiet for a long moment. So she was lying, he finally said. Either lying or she did not actually read her own rules, I said. Either way, you do not owe that fine. I would write a formal response to the HOA board citing these specific sections and the city's snow emergency declaration. I am going to do that right now, Tom said. Thank you so much. I was starting to panic about how we were going to afford this with the baby coming. No problem. Let me know if you need anything else, I said. After hanging up, I thought about just letting the whole thing drop. I had my money. Tom was going to fight the fine and Deborah would hopefully leave me alone. But something about the situation bothered me. The way she had acted, so aggressive and unreasonable, and then that comment about her nursing license hearing. I am not usually the type to dig into other people's business, but curiosity got the better of me. I did a quick Google search for Deborah Winters and Boulder nursing license. What I found was surprising. There were several news articles from about 6 months earlier. Deborah was a registered nurse who had been working at Boulder Community Health Hospital. She had been placed on administrative leave following allegations that she had been diverting prescription painkillers meant for patients. The state nursing board had opened an investigation, and she was facing a disciplinary hearing that could result in the suspension or revocation of her license. I sat back in my chair, processing this information. So that was why she had been so frantic about her hearing. It was not just some routine board meeting. It was a hearing that could end her entire career. Part of me felt a twinge of sympathy. That had to be incredibly stressful. But then I remembered how she had treated Tom and his pregnant wife, how she had blocked my truck twice and threatened to file false reports against my business. My sympathy evaporated pretty quickly. I did not hear anything more about the situation for a few weeks. February turned into March, and the snow finally started to melt. Business slowed down, which was normal for this time of year. I picked up some landscaping jobs to fill the gap and mostly forgot about Deborah Winters and the Pinecrest Heights HOA. Then one day in mid-March, Tom called me out of the blue. "Andrew, you are not going to believe what happened," he said. He sounded excited, almost giddy. "What's up?" I asked. "So I wrote that letter to the HOA board like you suggested, citing all those sections in the covenants. I sent it certified mail so I would know they received it," Tom explained. "I did not hear anything back for 2 weeks, so I figured they were just ignoring me. But then yesterday I got a call from another board member, a guy named Richard Chen." "Okay," I said, waiting for the rest. "Richard asked if he could come talk to me in person. So he came over last night and basically apologized for everything," Tom said. "Turns out, Deborah never actually brought my situation to the full board. She just sent me that fine letter on her own authority, which apparently she did not have." "Are you serious?" I said, dead serious. Richard said that after they got my letter, they started looking into Deborah's activities as HOA president more closely. She has been going rogue on a bunch of things, issuing fines without board approval, making up rules that do not actually exist in the covenants. They found at least 7 other homeowners she had fined inappropriately over the past year, Tom explained. "Wow," I said. "So what happened?" "They removed her as president," Tom said. "Called an emergency board meeting and voted her out. Richard is the new president now. He voided my fine and said they are going to be reviewing all of Deborah's decisions from the past year." "That is great news, man," I said, genuinely happy for him. There is more, Tom said. Remember that nursing license hearing she mentioned? Yeah, I said. She missed it, Tom said. Completely missed it. Because she was so busy blocking your truck and arguing with the police that morning, she lost track of time. By the time she got downtown, the hearing was over. The board made their decision without her testimony. My stomach dropped. What was the decision? They revoked her license, Tom said quietly. Permanently. Richard told me she has been calling board members nonstop, trying to blame everyone but herself. But the nursing board's decision is final. She had one chance to present her side of the story and she missed it because she was harassing you. I did not know what to say. On one hand, Deborah had absolutely brought this on herself with her behavior, but losing your career, your livelihood, that was devastating. I feel bad for her, Tom said, echoing my thoughts. But also, she was stealing medication from patients. And the way she treated people in this neighborhood was awful. Maybe this needed to happen. Yeah, maybe, I agreed. We talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. I spent the rest of the day thinking about the strange domino effect of that morning. If Deborah had just let me finish my work, if she had not been so obsessed with enforcing rules that did not even apply, she would have made it to her hearing. She might have been able to defend herself, maybe kept her license with some restrictions or probation. Instead, her need to control and intimidate had cost her everything. About a week later, I was at the hardware store picking up some supplies when I ran into Richard Chen. I recognized him from his photo on the new Pinecrest Heights HOA website they had set up. Andrew Morrison. He said, approaching me in the gardening section. "That is me," I said, shaking his offered hand. "Richard Chen. I am the new HOA president for Pinecrest Heights," he said. "Tom Richards pointed you out to me at the grocery store last week. I wanted to thank you for helping him fight that bogus fine." "No problem," I said. "I just did not want to see him get screwed over for."